There seems to be an awful lot of sad stories in the news today, and there are thousands missing. Does anybody care? We built a channel where we talk about those faces. Talking News. Debbie. Cassie Barnes has still not been found, and it's been 2 years since her case first hit the spotlight. Breaking. Child Gateway and Middle Valley both behind bars. Sarah Galloway was found. She wasn't found alive. What happened to Sarah Galloway?
It's too heartbreaking to share.
Children are still missing. Children like Dorsey. You're in shame. You just got away with it. Welcome to Talking News. Hello everyone. My name is Debbie. We use big stories to push little faces.
Hello everyone, welcome to Chasing a Murderer Talking News. I want to ask you guys before we get started to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. This will help support the channel if you like the videos that we produce. So today guys, we are covering that very sad story attached to Heidi Planck, a woman who is a mother of a 10-year-old boy by the name of Bond. She is also a very successful independent working mother. She is divorced from a man by the name of Jim Wayne, which is also the father of her son Bond. She was last seen October 17th of 2021. Heidi Planck had plans to go to her son's game that day. In fact, security footage shows Heidi walking out of her house with her dog by the name of Seven. She has some kind of beverage along with her purse. She has on flip-flops, but really doesn't have anything else with her. This story come to light mostly because of her ex-husband, Jim Wayne. He says when Heidi arrives to the son's game that she seems a little bit antsy. And by halftime, Heidi had left her son's game. However, no one knew where Heidi was heading. It is said that Heidi doesn't take her phone with her, but a person that might be in a hurry or antsy most likely wouldn't want to take their dog with them. And if she's sitting at a game and then suddenly she becomes antsy, wouldn't she have to have something in order to create that scenario? What we're hearing is she doesn't have her phone with her, but listen guys, we have not got all or exact information on this case right now. Now there is something I want to cover just in case, but I'm really not certain how this plays in. Heidi works with a guy that we'll call Sugarman, and Sugarman has quite a little background. So in 2019, Camden Capital executive Sugarman and his business partner, Galanis, are being looked into for securities fraud. Together, it alleged that the pair had developed a scheme to steal $43 million from its clients. Sugarman ultimately siphoned about $9 million in cash for his direct and personal benefit. And even more interesting is Galanis, his partner, pleaded guilty to multiple fraudulent schemes. He ended up being indicted and sentenced for 15 years in prison in January of 2020. And here's a really interesting part. So Heidi's LinkedIn shows that she is a controller and executive assistant at Camden Capital Partners. And that company's managing partner, Jason Sugarman, was charged back in June of 2019 for his role in the scheme to steal the $43 million that we just spoke about. And I would love to get more information on this, and I hope to soon. So this fraudulent scheme actually included tribal bond scheme, and that's according to several web sleuths as well as several news articles. So keep that in mind as we move forward here. So I'm putting this up there for you guys to kind of glance over. This is something that she files 2 months before she goes missing. And because I'm not familiar with all this kind of stuff, I don't want to speculate or even talk about it right now until I know exactly what's going on with this. So it's August. It looks like there's some kind of cancellation of business, but I really want to look into this a little bit more. But it's there, guys, for you to glance at. Recap. October 17th. Heidi is leaving her home, which is the 78 block of Gardendale Street in Downey, LA. She has her dog with her. She doesn't seem to be distressed in any way or agitated. She takes her dog with her. They get in a car and head to the football game. So again, to me, when she's bringing her dog Seven with her and puts the dog into the gray Range Rover, I mean, this just doesn't seem like a person in a, worried about anything or in a hurry. Another way that you can look at it is a lot of times, how do we see our pets? Especially if we are alone. A lot of times, pets are considered to be our protectors. So that's something I've thought about as well. According to Jim, Heidi's ex-husband, he said that his ex-wife was very good at keeping in touch with her son. But while she was at the game, she just seemed kind of antsy. He later says he's surprised when he did not hear from his ex-wife the following days after this game, because they usually spoke or texted every single day. So that's really interesting that he expects her to speak to him daily. And it wasn't until Heidi did not show up to pick up their son from school when he realized something was incredibly wrong. So that's around October 20th. And he says that she's a devoted mother who would never, ever leave her son, end quote. And this is a little bit, we don't know when these friends become aware that Heidi is missing, but they did say later that Heidi is an attentive mother, and when she didn't pick her son up at school later, they were immediately concerned. So I was wondering how they knew this. I want to share this quote with you from Jim. Quote, "When she didn't show up to pick Bond up on Wednesday, we knew something was wrong," end quote. And Jim continued to say, quote, "For him not to hear from his mother this long, something is seriously wrong," end quote. So this must be a quote that was said much later. It's on October 20th that Heidi Planck's family reported her missing to the Los Angeles Police Department because she failed to pick up her 10-year-old son, Bond, from school. And now detectives are hearing that she shows up to the football game and she abruptly left the game before it was even over. News articles begin to cover the story, and they say that Heidi was working as a controller and an executive assistant for an investment advisory company, which is the same exact company that was under investigation by Securities and Exchange Commission, aka SEC. It seems that Camden Capital Partners LLC has a lot of eyes on them for very fraudulent acts. And remember, I told you that many web sleuths believe that this company has something to do with her disappearance. They speculate to this anyhow. But here's where it gets very interesting. At some point, Jim Wayne, Heidi's ex-husband, accessed her phone, and he found messages that were left by a woman who found Heidi Planck's dog on the 28th floor of downtown Los Angeles. These are high maintenance apartments, okay, guys? That's the way I'm going to put it. And they have high security. And they say they have high security and refuse to let people actually come there and look for anything attached to Heidi. But first, we need to find out why. On the 28th floor, Heidi's dog is found by somebody. And the dog was chipped. So she was able to have that chip scanned. locate the owner, get the phone number, and reach out to Heidi. For some reason, Jim has her phone, and he sees these texts. It is speculated that the dog was left at these apartments about 3 hours after she left the football game. And again, I want to mention this. So supposedly, security for both the building and the individual floors is extensive. This dog is on the 28th floor, but there's no Heidi. So how did this dog get on such a high security or inside a high security building on the 28th floor? Well, that's interesting. In fact, this is probably one of the most interesting things about this case is the fact that this 39-year-old woman's dog was discovered on the 28th floor of a high-rise residential building downtown Los Angeles. And there was no signs, no belongings around the dog that belonged to Heidi. It was just Heidi's dog by itself. Now, while some stories say that this woman actually used a chip to find the owner, something doesn't sound right, because in another article it says that Wayne traced the dog's microchip to the apartment complex after she was reported missing. This is very interesting, isn't it? He told the news that, quote, he was found wandering around this luxury apartment complex downtown Los Angeles. And so when the dog was found, there were residents in this apartment complex that were found taking care of this dog. That is, until Heidi's ex-husband, Jim, contacted the microchip company and tracked down the dog's location. So without the affidavit or any type of statements from police, we can only go by what we're seeing through the news outlet, right? You can't speculate on facts that aren't even put together right. Did Jim find the dog, or did the residents reach out to him through Heidi's phone? Well, reach out to Heidi because they got the information from the dog's microchip. Or were there dog tags involved? So there's a lot missing here. So we really don't know how they found Seven. If they found the dog roaming in the area and they brought it up to the residents, or was he just found roaming the hallways of the 28th floor? So at this point, they know that Heidi's missing and something's wrong. That's what they feel. The dog's not with Heidi. The dog's with strangers. It's in a luxury apartment. And when police are contacted, the apartment complex is not working with them. They say that Heidi had no connection to this building, at least that they're aware of, and that at some point when he was able to check the parking garage, which was a few days later, he did not see Heidi's car. So we know that Heidi's ex-husband, her son, and her friends are very concerned about her whereabouts. But what about her job? We haven't heard anything about the job being concerned that she didn't come in or call clients or anything like that. One thing that I realized was Jim Wayne said, or insisted, no one has any idea how the dog got to these apartments or to the residents taking care of the dog. But here is where it gets quite interesting. October 21st. Jim said he received a phone call from Securities and Exchange Commission, and they were asking him questions about her boss, Jason Sugarman, the same guy who was looked into and investigated for fraud, and his partner was now behind bars involved with that fraud. The person that called Jim must have been female, because he said, quote, I don't know how she got my name, and I don't know how she got my number, but she called me and started asking me questions about Sugarman. Something's dirty here, end quote. Certainly is something dirty going on, Jim. Jim has been quite open with speaking to the media, and he believes that his ex-wife's job may have played a role in her disappearance, especially after that phone call. And of course, you know that news journalists, they're going to be real quick to take on that tip, and they reach out to Sugarman. And they say that it appeared that he actually deleted his LinkedIn a profile account after news journalists started becoming nosy. So sometime in this time frame around October 22nd, or a little before or after, Heidi's friends are very concerned. They're looking for her. They head to the apartments where the dog was found, and they say that the management refused to allow them to look in the parking garage to see if possibly Heidi's SUV may be parked there. Interesting, because police and investigators say that the management wouldn't share the building security tape with police unless they get a warrant. So it seems they are gonna look out for their residents no matter what. Doesn't matter if police suspect there might be something foul happening in their midst. Friends tell journalists later, quote, "It seems to us that everything stems from that building where her dog was found," end quote. They believe that something had to have happened to her to keep her away from her son. That's according to one of her friends, Danielle. Before I forget, Heidi was last seen wearing jeans and a gray sweater, driving a 2017 Range Rover. So on the license plate, guys, if you can share this information, if we can locate that car, the license plate has a black and yellow California license plate U840X0. According to Jim, he said that it was just, you could tell he was very shocked at the fact that the apartments wouldn't release security tapes that could help find answers as to where Heidi might be. And from this point, the cops know that they're going to have to get a warrant and get one quickly. According to information that we have right now, it seems like it was a week later that we see police actually raid Heidi's home. The fact that they raid the house with guns drawn, knowing that no one else lived in the home but Heidi, and yet she's not there, is it's a mystery. Okay, guys, I have to apologize, but we're doing a lot of environmental changes on this video. I don't know how most people that do these and live their life have time to, I guess a documentary is not so bad, but breaking news is very difficult to put together perfectly. Okay, so we switched environments. So we know that the police have gone into Heidi's house with their guns drawn. We know that she's not there. And we know that they do leave the home with some items, but we don't know what they are. They believe that there was federal agents also involved when they went inside this home. But according to the FBI, the LAPD is leading the investigation. So here we are, we're going over a few weeks now, and there's no sign of Heidi. And the sad part is her son is speaking to the media about his mother being missing. I'm going to play a few clips for you. In the first clip, it seems or appears to be Bond actually sharing a few texts that he has sent to his mother.
His mom 11 days ago. I said, can you please call me back? You haven't called me back in 2 days in a row.
It's always sad when you see a child involved with such a horrific case. Many people are just wondering, did she take off for a little while? Well, there's no signs of that at all, so most likely not. One would need their phone, they would need clothes, a suitcase, something. She did take her dog, but her dog was found by some residents in this luxury apartment, and I would love to know, has anybody heard anything on that? Okay, right now I want to play a clip of her ex-husband Jim sharing a few details.
We have a 10-year-old boy at home that's looking for his mom, and we need to find his mom.
So it appears that he is a very concerned father, and he's mostly concerned about his son finding his mother.
Something's seriously wrong.
There's no doubt in my mind that what he's saying is probably true. Hopefully, if we can get her story out there, someone has seen her car or her dog or maybe even her. Guys, if you're on Facebook, which I'm trying to be on Facebook, but I really don't like it, especially if you belong to some kind of group, share the picture of this woman, Heidi, as well as her car. I think those residents that had her dog have some answers that investigators are able to use as a tip of some sort. Hopefully we will hear something on that. Hopefully they'll be able to locate Heidi alive and well. Something new did come out, and it had to do with Heidi has a boyfriend, and he's over one of Mark Zuckerberg's charities. Not going to go into his name right now, but according to Heidi's ex-husband, they had an argument before she disappeared. Jim says he's not worried about this guy, but I bet investigators are. I'll try to go into more details on that on another video. But he said he hadn't heard from her, and it was probably because he thought she was just ghosting him. So I wanted to bring up this real quick before we close out. We still have Donita Wilkerson missing, and I have her video uploaded on my channel. Make sure that you go check out her story. Hers is similar to Heidi's in a way that she just kind of disappeared. We know that she was around some group of people, but we're not able to locate her. And of course, we have many more that are missing. So share their faces, guys. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys soon.